Hey
Hey.
there. Welcome to Tuck Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. Did you know which company is actually going to deliver you the metaverse? We're going to talk about it. This is our weekly show where we cover 3 or 4 interesting tech stories that are in the news, give you a fun library information, and get you on your way in about 20 minutes. As always, if there's a story you'd like us to cover, Creation Station at broward.org comes right to me. Today, I have Miss Francie from Northwest Regional Library's Creation Station. How are you doing, Francie?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
How's the day up there?
So far, so good. Everything, we're chugging along. Everything's good.
I can't hear them behind you, so you must have gone to a far back office.
I did. We have quite a gathering that comes after school, which
Yeah,
is a great problem to have.
yeah. This is one of our school libraries that's directly attached to a charter school that is middle school and high school. So if you ever want to see the flood of humanity, just stand on the second floor balcony at Northwest Regional and watch. It's crazy.
It's about 300, 400 kids. You're
Inside
not
of 20 minutes. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus the parking lot there. Oh, I
We're
used to,
working
yeah,
on
I
it.
used to ride my bike back there
Oh,
just,
really?
just for that reason, because there's just no parking.
Yeah.
But let's get to these stories because we've got some really, there's only 2 stories this week. And there's just a lot to talk about with these 2 stories and a lot of links to share. Don't worry. As always, they're in the show notes for you. First, number 1 is Amazon Sidewalk. Francie, did you have any idea Amazon was building sidewalks?
I had never heard of this before until today, and then, of course, I was like, okay." So, it's a great name, which, Amazon is great with branding and things like that. But I even mentioned it to a couple tech people that I knew in my life, and both of them were sort of like, I've never heard of this before. What is it?" And then, of
Yeah.
course, I had to go back in and read the article because I couldn't explain it.
So back in 2019, this is not something that's really, really brand new, but this is something Amazon started a while ago. And every Echo Ring product, everything that Amazon has built since 2019 has the sidewalk bandwidth built in. And the sidewalk bandwidth idea, what this is you have on all of these various devices, you have this low frequency, low bandwidth option. It's not Wi-Fi, it's not Bluetooth, it's nothing like you're used to seeing out there on all your other devices. And the idea here is that you can use this to spread your internet outside of your home to make it easier to access things. So how they sold it back in 2019 and how in 20 was here you can put this, run this sidewalk function as part of what you're doing with your Echoes and all your other devices. And then if you want to put an alarm at your mailbox so that you know when the mail comes, you could do that. And you don't need Wi-Fi all the way out to your mailbox. You just have a little, just this sidewalk thing, and you have a little app out there that opens, and when the mailbox gets opened, it triggers your alarm, and you're good to go. And they always said, we're going to roll this out to everybody else once we are sure it's safe and secure and we've satisfied all the privacy people, which is what happened last week or this week. So Monday, they rolled out Amazon Sidewalk to everybody to build any connected gadgets. And here's a large map to show you is that.
No, the map is insane
Yeah.
because, for something that was rolled out not that long ago, like in tech terms, you
Oh,
know?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
90% of the country is covered. Now, I know you're saying, Bob, that's not 90% of the US. And it's like, yes, it is. That's where all the population centers are.
Yep.
Remember, we've got a lot of open land in the United States. And by the way, this is only in the United States. For those of you listening elsewhere, Amazon has not rolled it out in other places yet, but they are because it's in the devices they sell. They just have not activated this for people outside of the United States to log into this network yet. But you can see all up and down the East Coast, all up and down the West Coast, all through the Midwest, Colorado, Utah. You can see all the cities really highlight here, just like a light map at night does. And this is how we get the metaverse.
Yep.
Isn't that because who expected Amazon to be the one who's going to bring us the metaverse? But
Not really, no.
Yeah, and you understand what I mean by that, Francie?
I do, I do. It took a minute originally when I was trying to read it because it uses a lot of abbreviations and tech terms that I wasn't
Mhm.
necessarily like, I think I get it, but I wasn't confident
Yeah,
enough to say I could totally talk about this. But
yeah.
now I feel better. Thank you, Bob. But
No worries, yeah. I
it's
mean, and that
more,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, fill me in.
Oh,
Tell
no,
them.
no, no. It's
No.
just more of like, of course, the first thing that comes to mind is, you know, the same thing when we talk about any sort of privacy is like, I had to talk to the tech people in my lives to be in like, even when you get something like the Alexa or these things, the Siri in your life and those types of items, I mean, like you have heard these stories that originally they weren't necessarily that commonplace, but then you started getting stories about people hacking them or people going in and doing things. So have they essentially learned from their lesson?
Yeah,
It's like, have you been burned too many times to really trust any form of technology like this almost?
yeah, any of the big 5, yeah,
Yeah.
or beyond, yeah. And one of the advantages of Sidewalk is that it's low power, low frequency. You can't and when we're talking metaverse, we're talking the real metaverse, not Facebook Meta's kind of fancy VR thing. This is what the real metaverse is meant to be, where I could put a little beacon, as they're called,
Mhm.
out my and all the different trees on my property and the mailbox and in my flower garden. And as you walk by with your enabled phone, like an Nreal glasses, which did not make the show today, but a brand new augmented reality glasses is coming out.
Mhm.
Um, and it would look at that and recognize that beacon and be able to tell me what kind of tree that is and all those things. Now, I think that's really cool.
Yeah. And I mean, I
What do
have
you think the companies are gonna do with that there, Francie?
exactly. It's like, oh, you like this tree? I'll show you where to buy
Yeah,
it.
exactly, yeah, "Here, you
Yeah,
like this oak tree? We think you'll like this maple tree also." Um,
exactly.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting how we develop this. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
And I don't know. It's almost, I don't know. It's just I don't know, because it's so double edged. All of it is like we have come, to a point in our lives where so much of our life is easier because of technology, but at the same time, it always circles back to that. How much is too much?
You
Is
mean
like
like this? Our next story?
exactly.
So, our next headline here, if you're not watching on the screen, in Australia, the army now is in full-blown tested, not as in, "Oh, we're going to experiment," but this is actually working up and running, and their army is using it.
Yep.
Br con brain control over drones. So, you put this non-invasive headset,
Yeah.
like a baseball or it's almost like a baseball cap.
Mhm.
You put it on and you think at the drone and you can tell it walk forward, move sideways, go backwards, take a picture, send this, do this. And did you see how many times it can do it?
I think it said 9 commands in 2 seconds, and that's been sticking with me all day. I was
Yeah.
like, I can barely think one thought in 2 seconds, let alone 9 commands.
It is going to be really, really interesting because and that's why this is like our only other story.
Mhm.
Your our we already lost the battle, like you said, on a lot of tech stuff. We gave up on all sorts of biometrics because, at least in the United States, our legislatures, our Congress, and both the U.S. government and for the most part the state governments have just given up the chance to regulate any of that. So that's why malls can have cameras everywhere and do facial recognition on you because we have no laws about that. This is just the first step in actually being able to think and control stuff in a real world situation and going out there and doing it. It's a really interesting idea. And there are people who are like, wait, wait, wait.
Mhm.
Let's plan this ahead of time. You hear that all about AI right now. Oh, wait, wait, wait. We need to put regulations on. It's like, no, that left, that's gone. AI is out here and working and doing, and you should have put the regulations in 10 years ago.
Exactly.
Now we have a chance to do this. So there's a couple of things that I want to point out. One, we did a story on this just 3 weeks ago.
Yep. Well, it keeps coming
Where
back. It's gonna keep coming back, Bob.
Yeah, exactly. So we did this story, it was back on episode 119 where they put people in a MRI machine using functional MRIs to recreate the pictures they were looking at. They put the MRI data into an AI, let it think about things, and here is the image that the AI came up with of what the person was looking at, just
It's
by
just
thinking.
so close.
Yeah, isn't it? So there's 2 I wanna give 2 examples because I
Mhm.
know you were terrified by this. So
I
I
don't know,
wanted to make
today
2
took an
Oh,
interesting
no.
turn.
It's no, I've talked with this with a bunch of people this week, and
Yeah, yeah.
4 or 5 people I on my team are all like, "Oh my gosh, Bob, what are you trying to do to us?" And I'm like, "I am not." But so
Good
there's
to be aware.
2 different groups out there that I wanna make sure everybody's aware of that are thinking about this, and I want you as listeners to go find these things and go talk about this. Number 1, Chile
Mhm.
already has been thinking about this and has it built into their constitution now
I was really
that
impressed by this one. Yeah.
your thoughts are your own and cannot be captured and taken by somebody else. They cannot be used without your permission, etcetera, etcetera. So if they would have had this in effect for facial recognition and other biometrics, it would have gotten us a lot farther. Um, and this has been in effect since 2021. So we're already 2 years into them having it on the books. Pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that unless you really it's again, it's the double-edged sword, like, you don't wanna think about it, but you need to think about it
Yeah.
because before you know it, like you said, it's gonna become old news. We're messing around with that AI filter and stuff on the internet and stuff without realizing that has, like, real life implications of what will be future used for, things like that. So, at this point, it's still a fun filter and a fun game and all these things, but who's to say? I think we called
Yeah.
it, neuro cookies in the
Yeah.
Chile article,
Uh-huh.
and, like, that also stuck with me because, like, again, everybody knows what, like, digital cookies are and stuff like that, but if that's still gonna be something that's, just chilling around in your brain, someone might have access to that down the line,
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. Oh, not okay, so when we're talking
Yeah,
about digital cookies, we're talking about the idea that you can track someone's brain waves,
mhm,
and everyone has an individual set of brain waves, just like all other biometrics. If you're tracking by retina or if you're tracking by fingerprints or you're tracking by these things, all these various things, to a certain degree, everyone has a bit of a unique one. The brain is even more unique depending upon how you do it. And I know people are out there saying, "Bob, nobody's gonna be scanning my brain tomorrow." And you're right,
mhm,
but they're gonna be doing it soon.
yep,
And how long does it take Congress to do stuff? In the United States, how long do you think it's gonna take for Congress to get around to talking and thinking about this before it's too late?
exactly.
So, Nina Farahani, I apologize,
Mhm,
has a new book out, and it is called "The Battle for Your Brain." It's available at the library. You can go put it on hold.
mhm.
There is a sh- waiting list right now for the physical copies, the e-copies. I'm not
That's
sure.
good news
If you go to the
exactly.
Palace app and you can take a look up and find it there for us.
Exactly. It means that it's in demand. Think of
Yeah.
it that way.
And so talking about, she is a legal ethicist, dealing with neuroscience. Could be, and that's her profession is neuroscience. So she's come up with some really interesting ideas about how can we get lawmakers to start talking about this? How can we do this? What do you think is Did you see her? Tell me about what you thought about her thoughts on this.
I mean, it was fascinating. Do you have the rights to your own private thoughts? And I think that's, ask anybody and they'll say, of course. What I think is what I think, but we also don't already realize that the ads that we see or the information that we see or their algorithms and stuff that are already targeted to things that we already think. So our worldview on things is usually very already pre-targeted to what we already believe. But think of it this way: if someone had access to that,
Yeah.
there's so much. Someone with any sort of malintent or was trying to convince you of something else, they would know exactly what your trigger is in order to get you to do that.
Event-related protocols is
Mhm.
the new term that I'm gonna be using.
Oh, why don't let's hear
Yeah.
it.
So, what happens is these are things that, like that previous article where it's pictures, it is something that triggers. So if I could scan your brain and you walk into my mall and I force you through advertising or whatever to look at particular images,
Mhm.
I put a giant suitcase at the entrance to the mall. You have to look at it so that you don't trip over it as you're walking in. Now I know what your brain thinks about when it's a suitcase, when it's that shape and size and color and stuff, and I'll be able to then pick that out and use it again in other spaces. And then here's the part
Mhm.
about using it to infer people's affinity with particular political viewpoints. And when recording the signals from a person and presenting them with a series of statements and images, they can figure out whether you think those images are positive or negative based on your political beliefs.
Exactly.
By reading your brain, it doesn't matter if you say, no, 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 I really believe in this. It doesn't matter what you say, it's what your brain waves say. And imagine the horrors we can do in a court with that.
Exactly. Yeah. And and there's always going to be people that say, "Oh, the truth is the best. The truth is the best." But it also begs in that question, I'm over here thinking of like Minority Report, where
Yeah,
it's like until it
100%. Yeah.
happens, does that, is
And
it
there's some
enough?
horrible
Yeah,
things that were going on at the turn of the last century where people, measuring skulls and judging people by this and, what's the size of this? And, oh, that's a good person and a bad person. Yeah, we need to stay away from these things. We moved on for a reason. Let's not keep
exactly.
going back to it, right?
Yeah. No, 100%.
So tell me, Francie, are we gonna be safe? Do you think we can actually pull ourselves out of this?
Um, I think it's going to require some people to have very uncomfortable conversations about what they feel comfortable with and why this might be a bridge too far.
Yeah.
Almost like I don't know.
Exactly. No, and
Yeah,
that is a perfect example right there, Francie, because
yeah,
we don't know.
and
And
that's
maybe we should be putting a lid. You can't stop the technology from moving forward. It's just like, people complaining about AI. Well, we got to stop it now. It's too late. It's done. It's happened. The items have been scanned. Things have been done. What are you going to do? Find this, $100 billion company? You're going to find them $1 million. Oh, great. They earned that in 6 minutes. Um,
right.
let's stop that now. Let's plan ahead for once. A couple
Yeah,
things.
right, exactly. It's like, Chile is really,
Yeah.
I was really impressed with that article because it really did. It was taking into account what we already know, and it also was sort of taking it, it let it have some free form movement as to
Yeah.
where we're going to go forward with technology, but also taking into account what we know now. So there are some things that we can control now, but also let's be a little bit more flexible with what laws and stuff we're planning on implementing in the future
Yeah.
based on what we know and what we don't know.
Yep. And all this is in the show notes for you, so you can follow these links, go up and read these articles. Talk about it with friends and family. Leave us a comment and tell us what you really what
It's
you
gonna
think,
spark
what
some
you're thinking
conversation
about
for
this
sure.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be thinking on it.
Tell us, Francie, give us a happy thought on the way out. Tell us what's going on there at Northwest Regional.
Oh, we've got some wonderful things happening. We have our creation station is open on Tuesdays, and it is from 2 to 7. And you can come on in, take a look at things. You can order something to be 3D printed, and we also have a program that's coming up. Unfortunately, this one is currently filled, But we do have, if there's interest, you want to come by, let us know, call us, anything like that. We can see about getting another one. It is a Maker Girl program. It's specifically designed for girls at the ages of 7 through 14 to get them interested in STEM. And it's going to explain how 3D printers work. You're going to be able to see our space. And everyone who participates in the program gets their design mailed to them at a later date.
This is not just like a show and tell thing. We're going to teach these girls how to actually create 3D objects and build stuff in a 3D world, and then get a physical manifestation of that afterwards.
Exactly. Gets them interested. And also, we have a free in-person SAT prep class, which
That's one you definitely have to sign up ahead of time for.
And please, please, please sign up. We want to get everybody the heads up that they deserve. Or
Yeah.
the
No.
head
Yeah.
start.
Yeah. No. Giving everybody a leg up. Yeah. No. That's exactly what's
Yeah,
needed.
so that's
No.
starting next week. So if you're interested, hop on that one.
Reach
And
out
again,
there. Yep. Yeah, definitely. You reach out Northwest Regional Library. When you go to the library webpage, you can look at locations. They've got all the phone numbers there for you and all the events that are happening there at Northwest Regional. So let
yep,
them
we've
know.
got some good
We've
stuff.
got a lot. Some of these classes are going on all over the system. So pay attention to what's around and close by you. We had a full day today. Thank you so much, Francie, for being here
Thank
with
you, of
me.
course. It was
If
great.
there is a favorite librarian or location you want to see featured on the show, email us creationstation@broward.org. We'll see everybody next week. Have a great day.
Bye.